Bill Bentley was born in Aiken, South Carolina back in the 1950s. He took up guitar at an early age and played in several bands during his high school years. In his adult years, Bill continued playing in numerous bands and recorded a few albums. Bill has also owned a music store called Vintage Music Store, which sells musical instruments, or sold musical instruments. In the last decade, Bill has played with the instrumental trio Under The Sonar, who has recorded 4 different projects here at Capricorn Studios. And all of these recordings can be found on this recently released album, which is appropriately called The Complete Capricorn Sessions. Welcome, Bill Bentley.
Thank you, Tim. It's good to be here.
Great to have you. And you've graciously come all the way from Aiken, South Carolina to be here.
From Aiken to Macon.
From Aiken to Macon, which is the name of one of your releases that was recorded here. Tell me about your childhood, your musical formation years.
Well, like I mentioned first off on the phone the other day, I was born at a very young age.
Wow.
You know, kind of like all of us. Aiken, South Carolina, the hospital in Aiken. Lived basically my whole life there except 2 years in Kentucky.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Yeah, I left home at 18 to do that.
Uh-huh.
But I started in 4th grade playing drums. By the time I got to the 6th grade, I was starting to switch over to guitar.
Okay.
By the 7th grade band of school band,
Yeah.
I dropped the drums in the school band and went total guitar. And we were already playing in our first band.
Now, when you say school band, you're not talking the marching band and all that kind of stuff.
Well, we didn't march. We just had to sit on the stage and
Really?
play the band. Yeah, but
Okay.
I got out early on that. That didn't go well for me.
Okay.
So that was a good decision to go on playing rock and roll music
Yeah.
with guitar.
Yeah.
But we were in our first band. Well, I was really in my second band.
Okay.
In junior high school, second band. By the time I got into 10th grade, we started over with Wax Bean.
Wax Bean. Okay. Wax Bean has been a band that actually you guys had a reunion last year.
We did. 25-year reunion of
Okay.
that 9th version.
So
That
this
was
is the 25th anniversary of the ninth
version
version
of the band.
Okay.
The band started in August 1970
Okay.
with me and Kent and Keith Cato.
Okay.
And then from
So
there,
so next year would be the 55th anniversary of the
those three guys.
of the first.
Yeah.
Okay. You were mentioning Kent,
Yeah,
who you still play with.
still play with Kent. We've played off and on in bands forever.
Yeah.
I was probably 11,
Okay.
going on 12 when we first started.
So describe what Wax Bean was all about.
Wax Bean started as an original music band.
Okay.
We had 5 original songs, and that summer of 70, we started in June. We went through everybody trying to get a band to stick,
Yeah.
and me and Kent did. And we got Keith Cato in August, and we started with these songs. By the fall, we were playing at this little coffee house in Augusta that's legendary called the Glass Onion.
Okay.
And we had met Steve Morris about a year before that.
Steve Morris of the
They were Dixie
later
Grit,
Dixie Dregs.
now Dixie Dregs.
Yeah.
Met him and Andy through
Okay.
all that situation. Frank Britt and him.
Andy's the bass player.
Right. And so we go way back into those time frames. But there was this cool little coffee house, and we all got to play there. We were playing our 3-piece original songs. Dixie Grit at the time, just to throw this out, was playing all cover tunes, Led Zeppelin, stuff like that.
Oh, really?
And we were playing all original. We both switched about the same time in 71, and they started going, Steve was starting to write, and they started going to all original tunes, and we started going to all cover tunes.
Yeah. Now, was this just a getting more bookings thing where if you played cover music, you would get booked more?
Right. Johnny Hensley out of Augusta, Georgia was the booking agent.
Yeah.
And then we won a battle of the bands, and we ended up going to Hit Attractions out of Charlotte.
Oh, sure.
And
The
that,
booking agency.
Yeah, and that got us more frat
Yeah.
type things, and we broke up August of 72.
Okay. And
We
this-
brought it back with some other guys in about 92 to 93.
okay.
And the drummer then said, let's use that old name Wax Bean.
Well, let's go back to
Okay.
what took you to Kentucky. You lived in Kentucky 2 years?
2 years.
Okay.
Back behind where I lived, there was this guy that came from Kentucky to visit his parents. And I was friends with his brother.
Yeah.
And we would go to music concerts when he would come. And he loved all kinds of stuff like we loved. About October, this guy had introduced me, the sound man, to band members up there. He calls me and wants to know if I want to come up there and be in their band. So I asked him, I said, when are you going back up? He said, I'm coming home for Thanksgiving. You can ride back up with me. I go back up for 3 weeks, learn all the songs. Where are we going to play? I was running out of money.
Yeah.
They put me up in a farmhouse and stuff they had.
Was this cover stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
But they wanted to do originals.
Okay.
And they had played me originals.
Yeah.
So I was all about that.
Yeah.
Have been since 8th grade.
Right.
That's what was drawing me.
Yeah.
But I knew I needed to get out of Aiken, South Carolina. Everybody said, Bill, you got to move, you got to move.
Yeah.
So I go, 3 weeks later, he's coming home for Christmas, end of 72. Y'all, when you get some jobs, call me. They call me in February. Come on back up, got a job. I get back up to Kentucky. We go play like a high school prom. They hand me $60 cash. And I was like, wow, where are we playing next? We don't have any more gigs.
Oh, gosh.
And I was like, what? But they went to work and they got 90 days in a hotel,
Oh, yeah.
6 nights a week.
Sure.
And I started doing that.
Yeah.
18 years old,
Right.
every night.
And that'll make you good.
I was doing well.
Yeah.
I had more money I knew what to do with.
Yeah.
So after 2 years of that, we're doing our own original album. The main writer would not sign a contract.
Okay.
He was kind of paranoid about all that.
Yeah.
Rest of his life was like that.
What was the name of this group?
Midwest.
Midwest. Okay.
Yeah. At that point, I looked at the drummer. I'd gotten Keith up there as our drummer
Okay.
in 73.
Yeah.
And things were going well.
Yeah.
He wouldn't sign. I looked at Keith apart from that meeting and I said, we're going to die playing in these hotels. We came back home.
The Aiken is part of the CSRA. What does CSRA stand for?
Sure, I don't know. Central Savannah River Area.
There you go. That's right. Bing.
You don't say that much around our area.
Tell me about the music scene there in the CSRA and some of the history and all that.
Johnny Hensley, which hopefully we'll get him, to talk about all that stuff. He started the Red Hots in the 50s in Augusta.
Yeah.
They were a big deal.
Right.
He's done reunions with them. He's probably 80, 82.
Yeah.
And he went into booking it, people and all of that. And he was like a Phil Walden of Augusta, managing people. But he had artists. I think he had B.J. Thomas probably at one time.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Helped us tremendously with
Yeah.
all of that. So, there were a lot of people. And he got to be a promoter in Augusta with the Bell Auditorium.
Okay.
And so he was involved with all of that type of stuff in the music of the 60s and 70s.
Well, and you mentioned James Brown was
Right.
from the CSRA.
Right.
Brenda Lee
Right.
came out of Augusta.
Yeah, the 3 songwriters from Aiken, Archie Jordan, Stuart Harris, and Mike Stewart, all went to Nashville and had hits.
Yeah, and there's been quite a few country people out of that area.
Kerry Marks runs the Grand Ole Opry at Gaylord. He's from Aiken.
The band.
He was one of the members of Mind Expansion that we played. He played bass in.
But James Brown came back.
He did.
And,
But he was established by then, see.
Yeah,
He could have lived anywhere.
he could have. Well, he lived here in Macon for
10 years.
10 years.
Yeah.
So, all right. So you were talking about the comp
Right.
chapter in
CSRA.
the CSRA, which
Yeah.
you are basically the local coordinator there.
Try to be.
Yeah, you've got a good group of folks there,
Yeah, we do.
and it was actually the second comp chapter we started right after Macon here,
Wow.
and it's like I said, it's doing well, and I
Yeah.
appreciate what you're doing.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about your music store a little bit.
Okay.
How did you get in to owning a music store?
I always had my life is run backwards in my
Okay.
dreams.
Okay.
When I was a young kid, I wanted to have a music store downtown Aiken.
Okay.
I knew the building I wanted it in and everything. I did not get that building, that location when this happened. But after my second retirement, after about 3 years of doing nothing, my friend had this store that had gone down.
Yeah.
And I said, let's open it back up. And I had moved my recording studio from my house to the building.
Yes.
That's how I got in it.
Yeah.
Then I moved the studio next door. He had 2 buildings, moved the studio next door. And I said,
Were you operating the studio commercially or just for your own use?
both.
Okay.
Yeah. And I said, man, I think we ought to put a little mom and pop's music store in the front of here.
Yeah.
And it was very small. And what happened was when we started all that churning, it got bigger than the studio. After about doing this for 5 years, 6 days a week, I decided, in my 60s, that wasn't really what I wanted to do. At 15, that would have been great.
Sure.
So I kind of went through that dream, right?
Yeah.
And was gearing back up to play more, realizing I really want to play. And we were playing, but I just wanted to concentrate really on playing.
Yeah.
So I sold it.
Okay.
Worked there for a year.
Yeah.
And then the owner and his wife that had it, he came and he worked there till earlier this year when he finally shut it down.
Okay. And I guess you were fortunate to sell it before COVID.
I was, because he went through COVID and stayed alive. But he told me that 22 into 23 was worse than COVID years for him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was just a down.
I'm guessing that you would not recommend somebody going into a...
It is hard. It is so hard. Our town, Aiken, does not have a music store now.
Yeah.
If you need something, you got to go to Augusta or Columbia or online.
Yeah.
And when online happened, like with anything,
Sure.
it's taking all the mom and pops, everything
Right.
like this. So it's tough to have brick and mortar.
So you apparently got out of that at the right time.
I did.
And you've been musically concentrating on your band Under the Sonar. Tell me about Under the Sonar.
We're getting ready to start our 8th year or so. And Kent and I were doing some original.
Kent Red,
the bass player. We were doing some original music about 77, 78.
Yeah.
And
But you, like we said earlier, you've been playing with him since.
I was like 11.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So we had this original instrumental music back then. So as we got going on down the road, like I say, 8 years ago, I said, we need to finish that in our life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bucket list item. So Kent got in touch with Josh, who I knew, and Josh Grenade's the drummer.
Yeah. Tell everybody what you told your bandmates about what was going to happen with this band.
Yeah, it's kind of shocking.
Yes.
I said, guys, this is going to be. Josh already could see by what we gave him to learn. This is all instrumental music. He loved it. Dream Theater's his main band.
Okay.
He likes Dregs, you know. So we could tell right away he was going to work.
Yeah.
No problem. But I said, guys, nobody's going to hire us to do this stuff. We can only play this stuff maybe 45 minutes and open. I had to vision it open for people.
Yeah.
And like concerts or different things like that. And we would just play through it, bam, 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 bam. No more than 2 to 4 minute songs, all instrumental, and we're not going to charge any money. Crickets.
Oh yeah.
And it's kind of been going that way.
Yeah.
And then it got to the place where we needed to record some of this stuff.
Right.
And we started out with 6 songs from 77, 78. And then just started going with new material. And we had recordings of that. But then we decided we wanted to redo those songs in recordings. I wanted to document everything.
Okay.
Okay? So that's how we got to Capricorn.
Okay.
I always wanted to record here, bucket list item. Came down here just before COVID hit, met Rob, asked him some questions.
Rob Evans, who's
He's the engineer. And we came that November and we wore masks. COVID was full in. We all wore a mask and did our first recordings here then.
Yeah.
So we have kept coming back as we had more songs to record.
Right.
You can show them that CD. That CD has 28 songs on it, all recorded here.
So it's been 4 different projects.
Right.
Combined on this one CD.
back this fall, do another project.
Okay. You're addicted to Capricorn.
I love it.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's the history. I'm a history buff.
Yes.
And the deep history here, my brother-in-law had a historic studio in Charlotte, North Carolina. And it's gone now.
Right.
Or we would have been going there.
Yeah.
No charge.
Yeah.
So now we have to pay.
Yeah.
But it's worth it.
Tell us about your writing.
Experiences.
Well, your how you write songs.
I write them now.
Yeah.
Yeah, doing instrumental music, you have to have a lot of melody involved.
Yeah.
I got going and started realizing that about 3 o'clock in the morning, I would wake up out of total sleep and then have these melodies going on. I didn't know what to do with it. Finally, I started getting up and capturing these melodies
At
home,
at what time?
3 in the morning. And it started getting more and more of this stuff late night and stuff. And I kind of realized that I had to pick it out and figure out, I couldn't even, what am I hearing here?
Yeah.
And so it's been kind of unique in that sense. I found out about what that's all about. When you're sleeping, your conscious mind is off.
Right.
And you wake up with subconscious mind.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what's happening.
Yeah.
Something you wouldn't normally do.
Yeah.
And that's cool.
Yeah.
So, capturing something that I wouldn't normally do. Let it be a melodic,
Yeah. All right. And you also got some merch here.
Yeah.
Tell us how people can find
This stuff?
Under the Sonar, this stuff.
Yeah, we have a
Coffee
Facebook.
cup.
We have a Facebook page Under the Sonar.
Yeah.
Facebook. I'm on Facebook, Bill Bentley, and we sell the stuff when we play live.
Yeah.
And then somebody can order this, and I'll send it to them. And we just started this little thing because when the music store went down in Aiken, I wanted to keep kind of the camaraderie of coming together, musicians, and telling lies. you
Yes.
know? So we had a coffee shop 2 doors down from where the music store was.
But you also have a website where you sell music.
The website is broader than Under the Sonar.
Yes.
It's everything that I've done since 1970. Hundreds of songs. It is thebigadventuremusic.com.
The Big Adventure.
Thebigadventuremusic.com. And it's all downloads.
Okay. And by the way, your stuff is not available streaming.
No.
So you can find this CD and a bunch of other CDs, not just Under the Sonar.
Online, yeah.
There's some other groups on there too.
Yeah.
At
And what I do-
thebigadventuremusic.com.
Right, thebigadventuremusic.com. And what I do, if it's $1.29 a track with all of that stuff, there's 2 other CDs on there of Under the Sonar
Yeah.
also. I do deals where you can buy them, pick and choose, or you can buy the whole album
Sure.
for a price.
Yeah.
It's a lot cheaper than buying onesies and twosies.
Right.
So I do all that type of thing too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Bill, I want to thank you for doing this,
Thank you for having me. Thank you for what you're doing with music.
Thank you for being a coordinator there in the CSRA. And
Can you send my check? I can't get my monthly royalty checks from.
I can help with royalty checks.
Okay.
So, but thanks again.